Build One South Africa leaders are addressing the media today, and this is on the latest developments around the government of national unity. Dr. Musi Maimane now on the podium. Let's listen in.
The commitment from the Minister of Finance is we're going to use some of the money that was allocated to NEDLAC, and some of it will go to the first tranche has already been paid. Equally so that local governments and municipalities will make their contributions in kind, and they will pursue finding out where other issues, where other in-kind donations can come from in the private sector. We, as Build One South Africa, will be there to make sure that each and every rand and every cent is spent correctly. Where there have been people who have committed to say that they will not be receiving money for being part of the national dialogue, we're going to ensure that is. We want to ensure that all of these imbizos, because the majority of the fund isn't to conventions. The majority of the fund will go to the multiple events that they've put in communities. And to be more specific, they sit at about 13,000 community events, if I'm not mistaken. These events, 13,760 community dialogues to be specific, can never be used for political purposes. Can't say we're having a national dialogue in Bizo in this community and therefore we will invite people that we so choose to mobilize people we so choose. We have to depoliticize the process. We have to achieve a clear roadmap. And we have to ensure that this moment is not squandered. Because if it is squandered, here's the risk. Tomorrow, you've already seen that there are many different organizations that feel comfortable going to the United States to tell the South Africa they want to see. Tell their version of the story. You continue along that trajectory, it won't just be tariffs in the US or false narrative about South Africa. You will incentivize disinvestment into South Africa. I genuinely want to see a dialogue that yields a sense upon which it comes up with a clear roadmap. It has a baseline discussion, and that all of us at the end of it can say, indeed, this process was ours, not this process was for that political party. It is in this light that Build One South Africa will be tabling a plan for prosperity. Because you only hold a national dialogue in the midst or post a crisis. Rwanda confronted profound genocide and had to come together and say, where does it go? Singapore created a national consensus, which is audited every 5 years. Scandinavian countries came together around a number of values. European countries, Germany more specific, came up with a plan post the World War. South Africa is facing its own crisis in that more young people cannot find work. Therefore, the question must be, how do we ensure that the 55% of South Africans who are living below the upper poverty line find themselves into the middle class? This plan for prosperity will be tabled in the early parts of September. We want that to be the baseline upon which we can have a discussion about the economy. Because, to quote former President Clinton, it is about the economy. That's it. We debate many things, but it is about where South Africans find their livelihoods. So as it pertains to the national dialogue, we are keeping a close eye on this issue. This plan will be tabled, and then once we have tabled it, we will go and workshop it with the various sectors. I want to engage business in South Africa to say, how do we turn our economy around? We want to engage civil society, communities, to say, come on board, let's talk about how do we make sure South Africa is a wealthy country that includes all of us as citizens. The last point I want to close with is the discussion we've been having about the government of national unity. It is clear and common cause that after 14 months of the GNU being in government, there's been some progress, but clearly many things have not changed. The data points are telling us that in some instances there's no progress. I don't take joy in a government that does not succeed. It hurts all of us. Don't celebrate when the economy is stagnant. Too many South Africans are struggling. So when we reflect on the society as we have it, there are consequences of an economy that is stagnant. And people are asking, how do we build a government that works for all of us? In this light, there have been many speculations post the ANC's NEC about the resetting of the GNU. Part of the speculation is that they are going to increase the number of parties, of which Build One South Africa is one. I want to be categoric and say we have not engaged the African National Congress in this regard. I want to make this particular point, that at the invitation of that engagement, we are not people who simply say we go along for getting along's sake. South Africa is in crisis, so I'm not going to be invited into a fight between the ANC and the DA. In our engagement, we are going to engage on the basis of the following: that the composition cannot just bloat the cabinet, which has already been the most bloated cabinet we've seen in democratic history. That adding political parties like MK and many others will simply complicate the issue and make it impossible for us to be part of what will become a potpourri of parties who are not ideologically, let alone governmentally coherent. You can't govern simply with people and just say, let's just get ministries, etc. It requires a plan that is deliberative, that says, how do we deliver for the people of this country? We are non-negotiable on our values. We are not going to coalesce with people who are racist, want to divide this country. We're furthermore not going to work with people who don't want to uphold and defend our constitution. If we don't have a basis of agreement, what then is the purpose of governing? Citizens are desperate. They are sick and tired of politics in this sense, where while people are fighting, they are fighting each other. We need a governance roadmap that delivers for the people. It's not GNU for vibes. It must be GNU for delivery. And in this sense, we talk about a governance plan. Our key focus is that we will have a discussion if it is going to attract investment, if it is going to eradicate crime and corruption, if it is going to reform our education, if it's going to fix Eskom, Transnet and other SOEs, if it's going to instill ethical leadership at all costs. And furthermore, I have been at war on this issue. There have been this discussion about CETAs and agencies. I see the Minister of Higher Education, Stevens, has gone and appointed other administrators, so-called. It's about time we scrap these things. They create middleman boundaries. Let us reform. South Africa's fiscus is constrained. It's time now that we make decisions that don't suit political parties, but suit the people. In closing, local government elections are coming up. My Jose, my city, I love this town. It breaks my heart to see the state of Johannesburg and many metros. Therefore, we have to do everything in our power to make sure that we achieve change in 2026. To this effect, BOSA has always committed itself to working and speaking to a number of organizations to say, how do we put forward a compelling vision for metros and governments? How do we ensure that more people can come together to work together? So that whatever happens in the elections, you don't feel the fragmentation, but rather you have a block of parties who are willing to work together to deliver the change that we need. This is work that has been continuing and will be engaging many more organizations. And a number of weeks from now on, we'll be able to communicate further about where this is. Because at the end of the day, like you, like me, we want to be able to send people to councils who are ethical, not corrupt. South Africans are largely religious people. They are people of faith. They are honest people. I know you might think this is, but they are. That's who we are. Why are we sending crooks to councils? You know, I was speaking to some church leaders at the at the dialogue, and it became patently clear that what they are thinking about relative to what we are sending to government are vastly different worlds. Now is the time that we elect the best, and so whatever we put on the table has to be predicated by having ethical leadership, competent people who can run our cities and metros. So fellow South Africans, I want to table to you this mini report card and some of the issues that have been raised that tell us that Build One South Africa has never been more crucial, more critical for the citizens of this country than it has been. And the work that we've been doing, not only nationally, provincially, and locally, has been of paramount importance to make sure we safeguard the interests of the people of South Africa. It is why we wake up every morning, and thank you so much for making time to be with us. I'm happy to take a number of questions. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, leadership. Let me at this time call.
So BOSA will not get involved in a fight between the ANC and the DA. That is Dr. Mmusi Maimane there addressing what he says is speculation that the Government of National Unity might be reset, and also touching on developments there on the Government of National Unity, and says that there are many other issues that are plaguing our country right now, and touched on the national dialogue as well. We saw the national convention that laid the foundations for that just this past week, and further goes on to say that although there has been some positive change in some parts of the country as well as policy, some things just stay the same. We park it here for now, and we continue to watch that story for you.